First off, I want to give all honor, glory, and infinite praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom, salutations to the hopeful elect that's fighting a good fight of faith and truth and sincerity and wholeheartedly. Shalom to the Aqua, which is the women believers. Shalom unto you. And when I want to entertain, I realized something. It's not really nothing deep, but Christians love to use Abraham. And we know when it talks about nations being blessed, it's really talking about Israel. But I want to entertain their thought of all the nations being blessed through Abraham. So I'm going to get, the scripture. I mean, even though, Christians don't use scripture, but I'm pretty sure they're talking about these two scriptures right here, which they think translate to, the New Testament Gentiles, which is all talking about Israel. But so it said, and I will make of thee a great nation, I will bless thee and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing, and I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curse thee, and in thee shall all the families of the earth be blessed. Now, if you want to take it to a surface level, now you got to remember that from the beginning all the way into now, we went into a lot of captivities. And when we were in those nations' captivities, their kingdom flourished. All right. So if you want to take a surface level, yes. So by nations conquering us for our disobedience, the nations that conquer us, their kingdom was always flourishing. All right. Because we are the salt of the earth. The Lord is with his people. All right. You're not going to any nation that have slaves, their kingdom is going to flourish. All right. So, yeah. So let's use modern day time. And then I'm gonna get a quick account in Egypt. We in modern day Egypt, spiritually called Sodom and Egypt right now. So we're gonna talk about right now. So why is America so great? Because they have the Israelites in captivity. They builded up this country, all right, free labor for over 400 years, and now they're the richest nation on the earth. All right. So, like I said, if you want to just go surface level with, all the families of the earth going to be blessed, then yeah, all the nations that took us over, their kingdom was blessed. All right. Off the backs of the Israelites and our influences, because we are Yasharallah, he the prince of the power. All right. Now, if you want to go into a deeper level, all right, the scriptures all talks about when the kingdom is established, then all the nations is going to have to learn our laws and be under our vibration. It ain't going to be no more warring no more. And the world is going to be dwelling with righteousness. That's the meat of it. All right. Because you still got people don't understand what the kingdom consists of. The kingdom consists of the 144,000 under Yahweh Shai and King David and the large multitude of believers, women and children, mostly. All right. Ruling the earth in righteousness. And the other nations have to be subjected to the righteousness. And if you don't get down, you're going to get beat down. All right. And over time, the nations is just going to come under our vibration. It's really going to happen quick, but we just talking about, in the beginning, that's going to be hard for y'all. All right. Because you're not going to be having the law, statutes, commandments written in your inward parts like we going to have. All right. So you're going to have to get the rod, put to your head. That's what the scripture says. Ask of me and I give you the nations. You should rule them with a rod of iron. All right. And beat the nations into pieces. So the reason we're going to be beating the nations into pieces because you're not going to be following the laws the way that you should in the beginning. But after that 1,000 years, then you're going to be able to go back, live in your land and keep our laws. And then that's how the world is going to flourish. All right. The earth is finally going to be able to be at its full strength. Because with under this devil, all right, that's why the scriptures say, destroy them which destroy the earth. So the trees mourning, the plants mourning, the fishes in the sea mourning, everything is mourning, man. So let's get an account of, all the families of the earth be blessed, through Abraham's seed. So just this little quick account of Joseph. This is why Egypt was flourishing, because of an Israelite. And it's saying Joseph was brought down to Egypt. This is after their brothers sold him, because they sold him into captivity to the Ishmaelites, and the Ishmaelites delivered him to the Egyptians. This man, Potiphar, whatever his name is. But they sold him into captivity, Joseph, the youngest one, because they see that their father had more favor with him because he got Joseph in his old age, so they was jealous of him. So it's saying Joseph was brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, bought him of the hands of the Ishmaelites, which had brought him down thither. And Yahweh was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. And his master saw that Yahweh was with him, and that Yahweh made all that he did prosper in his hand. This is why, and that's what happens every time that we go into, captivities under these nations, they prosper. All right. Now, in this account, Joseph was end up being a ruler and second in command under Pharaoh, because for the purpose of the Lord, of course, he predestinated everything. He foreseen that it was a famine gonna come, and so he builded up Joseph for Jacob and the rest of his brothers can be fed in that famine. So that was the only reason why the Lord even had him go into captivity. A man's goings of the Lord, how then can a man understand his own way? But I just want to use this account of just, because there's plenty of accounts, but I just want to use this one just to show you that when an Israelite is in a kingdom in subjection, they flourish. All right. And saying his master saw that Yahweh was with him, and that Yahweh made all that he did prosper in his hand. And Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served him, and he made him overseer over his house, and all that he had he put into his hand. And it came to pass from the time that he had made him overseer in the house and over all that he had, that Yahweh blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. See, which is the Israelite, Ephraim. All right. And blessing of Yahweh was upon all that he had in the house and in the field. So that's just an account. So now you got to understand. Now this is one scripture that we all quote all the time. And I guess we know Christians don't read. When I was a Christian, I didn't read that much myself, so they wouldn't know the scripture like that. But this is why the scripture, going to the surface level of all the families of the earth will be blessed through Abraham. So it say, and when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. That's not just Israelites, that's everybody. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. Look at the world right now. You're walking around with a damn mask on your face. All right. You got people playing around with, can't even say it, never mind. I don't want to get it straight. But you got people playing in labs, gain of function. And that's all I'm going to say. Go look it up. But anyway, so the point that I'm making is that, so on the surface level, yes, everybody had a shot at the Israelites. Everybody had them in captivity at one point in time. Their kingdom was flourishing when we was under their hand. All right. So if you want to go to the surface level of that, then yeah. All right. Yeah. So all the families of the earth will be blessed through Abraham, because it went from Abraham to Isaac to Jacob, and Jacob had 12 sons, which ended up becoming the Israelites. Jacob's name was changed to Israel. All right. So if you wanted to, entertain, a Christian to talk about Abraham, they never want to talk about Isaac. They never want to talk about Jacob. All right. They always want to talk about Abraham, because, Abraham had the Ishmaelites. He had Ishmael through Hagar. Then he had 6 sons with Keturah. All right. So Abraham had 8 sons overall. So, and through those seeds, all right, that's why the scripture said this, which is one of my favorite, that Christians don't like this. They don't like this scripture right here. So knowing that Abraham had 8 seeds, only one seed was chosen. So it said, now to Abraham and his seed, which is singular, where the promises made. He said not and to seeds as of many, but as of one, and to thy seed, which is a Mashiach. That's going deep right there, because Isaac was Yahushua in the reincarnation. That's why I say into thy seed, which was Isaac, which is Hamashiach. But let's get back on track. So, like I said, if you want to entertain, the Abraham thing, then yeah. Every captivity that we went into, the nations flourish. All right. But, and just to prove that all the nations at one point in time had us at one point in time, just one scripture will serve it up, because summarize it up. So it said, therefore, all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thy adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity, and they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and they that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. So just one scripture right here, because when you go into the history, when you realize that, damn, the Moabites had us at one point in time, the Ammonites had us at one point in time, Ishmael, Elam, Japheth, all right, the Greeks, which is Edomites, the Romans, which is Edomites, all right. So at one point in time, all these nations had us at one point in time, man. All right, it's more. I just named a few that came to my mind. But this is what's going to happen in the first 1,000 years. So everybody that spoiled us and destroyed us, they're going to get destroyed back. So this is what's going to happen. This is Jeremiah 30:16 in a nutshell. So it said, but the rest of the dead live not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. Now, this ain't talking about, because the first resurrection deals with Israel as a whole. The elect is going to be there first. But remember, the elect is going to have children. So the 2/3 going to come back. So this is talking about the other nations. The first 1,000 years is going to be the other nations building up our kingdom. All right. So that's what the first resurrection talking about, in 1,000 years is talking about. But it said, blessed and holy is he that have part in the first resurrection. On the second death have no power, but they shall be priests of the Most High and of the Mashiach, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. So that's what's going to happen. The first 1,000 years is going to be ruling the nations with a rod of iron. And after that, that's when the nation is going to be able to live again. That's when the nations is going to be able, go back to their lands and keep their laws to the best of their abilities. And if they don't keep it, we're going to visit them. All right. So now let's get into the meat and potatoes, because the Christians, this ain't meat and potatoes to us, but to the Christians. All right. So this is really what it's talking about, that all the families of the earth shall be blessed. So it's saying, it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of Yahweh's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, which means we're going to be the top power. All right. And shall be exalted above the hills, and all the nations shall flow unto it. So it ain't going to be no more idols. It ain't going to be no more other power structures. We going to be the power structure. All right. Under Yahushua and King David. All right. And it says, and many people shall go and say, come ye and let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh, man. And many people shall, see, this is the rest of the people. And many people shall go and say, come ye and let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh, to the house of the Most High of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways. We will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of Yahweh from Jerusalem. And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares. That means that it ain't going to be no more war. All right. It's going to be peace. That's why Yahushua is called Shiloh. All right. Shiloh to come. That's back in Genesis 49. It's saying they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against a nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. So that's when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. Now, you would break this down to a Christian, and they would still swear up and down, but they don't even understand that they actually need us. They need us to rule. All right, they look down on us right now. The Lord have accomplished His word. Said we will be a byword and a proverb. People will look at us. People shake their head, wag their head at us, look at us, be like, "Is this the man who we had sometimes in the vision?" All right, yeah. But now you're going to realize that these people that you look down on, you call them thugs, you call them savages, you call them animals, you call them three-fifths of a human. These are your future rulers, and you're going to love it. All right. So hopefully this video is edifying, and shalom.